We know that Peter Shell, Saul Brucker, Jaime Carbonell, and Andrea Swimmer secured for Peter Gabriel and Brian Eno the infamous Carrot tape from Milne's Crank Studios with the help of John Schulman. It was an illegal tape, but that doesn't matter to J. Edgar Hoover or Adrian Belew. It was a criminal backstab, but that doesn't matter to Robert Fripp or Peter Gabriel. The question, did Yoko Ono originate the Carrot tape, comes from the question of teriyaki, Midori teriyaki, yaki about Terry. So you lose Midori. Midori teriyaki is in Seattle. Well, the question pertains to whether the extrusion of the operation came from Neva Corporation, as well as the implant of the suggestion, the power of suggestion of Nosferatu and the famous Attica State Prison psychiatrist Bernard Wattenmaker, who first turned me on to In the Court of the Crimson King, back when little Robert Fripp looked a lot like little Michael Todd. So the question itself, did they author what they pretended to find? It's interesting because they had it all wired up with expectancy and were using, like Peter Shaw was going, pushing his nose and going, been porking anybody lately. Saul Brucker been going, we porked this girl, poured gas on her and said, let's get going. Things like that anyway, as he gurgled about dragging me through glass, which had Tony Levin slapping 5 at the Usendorf barber shop with Hitler Reagan. And they get this mysterious Carrot tape, which had nothing to do with me. The girl in question used my tickets to go with the man in question to selling them by the pound. Afterwards. So we know the veracity of Jaime Carbonell's natural language linguistics. But at the time that Frame by Frame came out by King Crimson, that King Crimson Devil Band, that be a King Crimson Band. A book came out around that little bit, maybe a little later, I'm not sure, called Frame Analysis, or maybe before, but about the same time. If you use frame analysis, you know, the Wiggler of King Crimson, Shifty Barbecue, Robert Fripp, yeah, that was his name. Is his name, whatever. He came wiggling about how he had the infinite power of insight. Truth was the divine connection between his noodle and Allah. And Rusted Root was very flamboyant in the love for this idea that Fripp knew divine truth. When they worked with a kid who grabbed me by the jugular vein for questioning that his Zionist buddy heard Adrian Belew sing Moonchild, he grabbed me by my jugular vein. I hate to say that, you know, I feel really badly about that incident in Utah. But Rusted Root said, you know, the infinite truth is that Jimmy was jealous of Leslie, therefore, if she weighs the same as a duck, it's made out of Will Brown's war game on Mount Desert about AIDS, was justified, jump down hole peepee. And they got this from this guy from Fox for soundtracks, right? So, and it was just a matter of pretending that Yoko Ono didn't know what was already in the letters because they had So all ready to go. Well, frame analysis, frame by frame, that be a King Crimson Band, has this strange story where he weighs the same as a duck because he's carrying a tape recorder. And the people he's tape recorder take it away from, rewind it, turn it on. So it says he held a gun to his head. And then immediately texts them saying, "What gun to policemen?" How, if they're playing it back, how is he taping with it? You can't both tape at the same time that you're on playback. But the infinite guitar hero holds his nose. Well, holds his pick and drops it and says, "Jimmy is made out of wood. Throw him into the pond. Throw him into the pond." So chemical castration is due because Leslie was still a virgin after 2 years dating. Amen. Drop the pick. I even have Parkinson's from their therapy. Well, they knew that they were using a personality change nerve agent. They knew I didn't know it was in there. They described it in the letters as well as described that they forced me to swallow it and nearly killed me, which they did. It was a horrible Manson ordeal. None of this matters. They gassed me in Kansas State and put on a pornographic genocide. None of that matters because I won't entertain a conspiracy theory about these. How dare you call them Jews? How dare you call them Jews?